The walls of Buckingham Palace have witnessed countless royal dramas over the centuries, but nothing quite compares to the devastating family warfare unfolding behind closed doors. Right now in 2026, King Charles III, a man who has waited his entire life to wear the crown, now faces the most heartbreaking choice any father could imagine. His health is failing, his time is limited, and he must choose between his two sons before it's too late. According to multiple sources close to the palace, King Charles has been secretly planning a reconciliation meeting at Balmoral Castle this summer, desperately hoping to heal the fractured relationship with Prince Harry before his own mortality catches up with him. But here's where this story takes a shocking turn. Prince William, the heir to the throne and future king, has allegedly drawn a line in the sand. Royal insiders claim he's made it crystal clear to his father, "Choose Harry, and you lose me." The question everyone's asking is simple yet devastating. Will King Charles sacrifice his relationship with his future king to save his connection with his exiled son? Welcome back to Royals Truth Network, where we always dig deeper into the stories that matter most to royal watchers around the world. I'm thrilled you're here today because what we're about to reveal will fundamentally change how you understand the current crisis consuming the crown. This isn't just another family squabble making headlines. This is an existential battle for the very soul of the monarchy, playing out in real time as King Charles grapples with his own mortality and the legacy he'll leave behind. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, now is the perfect time. We bring you the real stories, the hidden truths, and the insider information that mainstream media often overlooks or deliberately ignores. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because the next few months are going to be absolutely explosive for the royal family. In today's investigation, we're exposing the secret machinations happening within the palace walls, the power struggle between father and son, and the impossible choice that could tear apart the monarchy forever. We'll examine Queen Camilla's quiet but significant influence, explore the staggering financial implications of reconciliation, and reveal what sources are telling us about the emergency meetings happening right now, behind closed doors. Trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the final revelation will leave you absolutely speechless. Let's start with the catalyst that's forcing King Charles to act with such urgency right now. According to the Times and corroborated by sources at the Telegraph, the king's health has deteriorated more significantly than the palace has publicly acknowledged. We're talking about a monarch who knows his time is running out, who understands that the window for reconciliation with his youngest son is closing fast. King Charles is reportedly obsessed with the idea of seeing Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Prince Archie, and Princess Lilibet at least one more time in a meaningful, private setting where real healing can begin. Royal experts who have studied Charles for decades say this desperate desire for family unity before death is completely in character for a man who has always valued his role as father alongside his duties as sovereign. Sources close to the palace revealed to Page 6 in late January 2026 that King Charles has been personally drafting guest lists for a proposed gathering at Balmoral Castle in August 2026. This wouldn't be a brief photo opportunity or formal state occasion. We're talking about an extended 2-week retreat, designed specifically to allow genuine reconciliation away from media scrutiny and public pressure. The king reportedly envisions long walks through the Scottish Highlands, intimate family dinners, and protected time for his grandchildren to bond with their cousins, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. It's a beautiful vision, almost heartbreakingly hopeful. But according to multiple insiders who spoke with The Sun, Prince William has categorically refused to participate if Harry and Meghan are present. Here's where things get really complicated, and I need you to understand the depth of William's opposition. This isn't just brotherly resentment or wounded pride. According to royal commentators and palace insiders, Prince William genuinely believes that allowing Harry and Meghan back into the fold, even temporarily, represents an existential threat to the monarchy's credibility and survival. Think about everything that's happened. The Oprah interview where allegations of racism were broadcast to millions worldwide. the Netflix documentary series that exposed private family conversations and painted the royal institution as cold and uncaring. Harry's memoir that revealed intimate details about physical altercations between brothers and deeply personal moments that should have remained private. From William's perspective, according to sources who spoke with The Telegraph, each of these public betrayals has damaged the crown in ways that can never be fully repaired. He reportedly told confidants that welcoming Harry back would signal to the world that you can trash the royal family on a global stage, profit handsomely from those betrayals, and still be welcomed back with open arms whenever convenient. But let's dig deeper into William's position, because there's more happening beneath the surface. Multiple sources suggest that Prince William isn't just thinking about past grievances. He's thinking strategically about the future of the monarchy under his eventual reign. William reportedly believes that the modern royal family must be lean, efficient, and above all, trustworthy. The working royals must be people who can be counted on absolutely, who would never dream of sharing private conversations with journalists or streaming platforms. According to analysts who spoke with The Times, William sees himself as the protector of institutional integrity, the one person willing to make hard decisions that his father cannot make, due to emotional attachment. There's also reportedly a financial calculation happening. Prince William now controls the vast Duchy of Cornwall estate, which generates approximately £40 million annually. Royal experts point out that this financial independence gives William enormous leverage in family negotiations that he's apparently willing to use. Now let's talk about Queen Camilla, because her role in this drama is absolutely fascinating and potentially decisive. According to sources who spoke with Page 6 and the Daily Mail, Camilla has been quietly but consistently advising Charles against reconciliation with Harry. Now, we need to be careful here because motivations are always complex, but multiple royal commentators suggest Camilla's position stems from protective instincts rather than malice. She reportedly witnessed firsthand how devastated Charles was after each public revelation from California, how each interview or documentary excerpt would send him into days of depression and self-doubt. Sources claim Camilla has told friends that she cannot stand by and watch her husband be hurt again by a son who has repeatedly chosen public spectacle over private reconciliation. Some royal watchers believe Camilla is also thinking about her own legacy and her children's positions within the broader royal framework, though the palace has never confirmed these suggestions. But here's what makes Charles's position so uniquely heartbreaking. Every single report from palace insiders suggests the king is genuinely torn between his duty to the institution and his love for both sons. The Telegraph published a particularly moving account in January 2026 from a source described as a longtime friend of Charles, who said the king sometimes weeps privately when discussing his fractured family. This is a man who has spent over 7 decades preparing for the throne, who understands the weight of monarchy better than almost anyone alive. Yet he's being forced to choose between institutional stability and fatherly love. According to this same source, Charles has repeatedly asked his advisors whether history will judge him as the king who saved the monarchy or the father who abandoned his son. Drop your thoughts in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. If you were in King Charles's position, what would you do? Would you prioritize the institution or your family bonds? Let's examine Harry's perspective because this isn't a one-sided story. According to sources close to the Sussexes, who spoke with People magazine and US Weekly, Prince Harry desperately wants reconciliation with his father and brother. These sources paint a picture of a man who made choices he believed were necessary to protect his wife and children from the same media treatment that he believes contributed to his mother's death, but who now lives with the painful consequences of those choices every single day. Harry reportedly tells friends that he never intended to completely sever ties with his family, that he hoped establishing boundaries and speaking his truth would ultimately lead to healthier relationships built on honesty, rather than institutional obligation. Royal experts point out that Harry has publicly stated multiple times that he would return to Britain to support his father during illness. That family comes first despite all the conflicts and controversies. But then we have Meghan Markle, and her role in any potential reconciliation is perhaps the most complicated element of all. According to virtually every source familiar with the situation, William and Kate have made clear that their opposition isn't just to Harry's return, but specifically to Meghan's presence at any family gathering. The Sun reported in January 2026 that Princess Kate allegedly told Confidence Chicago. Here's something that hasn't been widely reported, but is absolutely crucial to understanding the current crisis. According to sources who spoke with the Daily Mail, there have been at least 3 separate attempted reconciliation meetings over the past 18 months that fell apart before they could happen. In June 2025, Charles reportedly arranged for Harry to visit Windsor Castle during a brief UK trip, but William allegedly threatened to skip a major royal engagement if the meeting proceeded. In September 2025, there were plans for a mediated conversation facilitated by Princess Anne, who maintains cordial relations with both brothers. But Harry reportedly backed out at the last minute after negative stories about Meghan appeared in the British press that he believed came from palace sources. In December 2025, Charles apparently tried to arrange a phone call between his sons to discuss holiday plans, but the conversation lasted less than 5 minutes before William hung up. According to sources familiar with the interaction, let's talk about Princess Anne for a moment because her role deserves special attention. Multiple sources describe Princess Anne as the family member most committed to finding a workable solution, someone who has privately advocated for limited reconciliation that protects institutional interests while allowing Charles some relationship with Harry, according to the Times, and has reportedly proposed a compromise where Harry could visit Balmoral during different weeks than William, allowing Charles to see both sons without forcing them into the same space, and is described by royal experts as deeply pragmatic, someone who understands that family rifts can sometimes only be managed rather than fully healed. Sources suggest she's told Charles that expecting full reconciliation between William and Harry is unrealistic, but that doesn't mean he must choose between them entirely. What about public opinion? This is where the story gets even more fascinating because the divide isn't just within the family. According to polling data reported by YouGov and The Telegraph throughout late 2025 and early 2026, British public opinion remains decisively against Harry and Meghan. Approximately 65% of UK respondents in January 2026 said they would oppose Harry returning to any official royal role, with even higher numbers opposing Meghan's return. However, there's a significant generational divide. Younger Britons, particularly those under 35, are much more sympathetic to Harry's decision to prioritize mental health and family safety over institutional obligation. In the United States, the dynamic is completely reversed. American audiences remain broadly supportive of Harry and Meghan, viewing them as victims of a rigid, outdated system. This transatlantic divide creates yet another complication. If Charles welcomes Harry back, he risks alienating British subjects who fund the monarchy through taxes. If he doesn't, he damages the monarchy's reputation in crucial international markets. Let me ask you this, and really think about your answer. Do you believe Meghan and Harry genuinely wanted privacy? Or was this always about building a commercial brand on royal connections? Let me know in the comments, because I see compelling arguments on both sides of this question. Now here's where the timeline becomes absolutely critical. According to multiple medical experts who have analyzed publicly available information about King Charles's condition, the monarch's health situation appears more serious than official statements suggest. We must be very careful here because the palace has released limited information, and we're relying on analysis rather than confirmed diagnosis. But several royal commentators have noted Charles's increasingly reduced public schedule, his visibly frail appearance at recent events, and the sudden urgency with which he's approaching family matters. Sources close to the palace told the Mirror that Charles has privately acknowledged he may not live to see his 80th birthday, which would be in 2028, if accurate. This means the king believes he has perhaps 2 to 3 years remaining to resolve this family crisis and ensure some kind of stability before William ascends to the throne. This mortality awareness is apparently driving Charles to consider options he might otherwise reject. According to The Sun, the king has discussed with advisors the possibility of hosting Harry at Balmoral, even if William refuses to attend, essentially choosing his relationship with his exiled son over his heir's explicit wishes. Can you imagine the institutional earthquake this would create? Prince William is not just the heir. He's increasingly seen as the monarchy's future and its best hope for continued relevance. If Charles defies William on this issue, sources suggest it could create a permanent rift between father and son that would shadow the remainder of Charles's reign and the beginning of William's. But what if Charles makes the opposite choice? What if he sides with William and Camilla, accepting that reconciliation with Harry is impossible and focusing instead on the working royals, who have remained loyal? According to royal experts who spoke with The Telegraph, this path leads to its own devastating consequences. Harry would likely interpret such a decision as final abandonment, potentially leading to even more revealing interviews, documentaries, or books. The image of an elderly king choosing institutional preservation over fatherly love would dominate Charles's legacy in ways that could overshadow his environmental advocacy and charitable work. Sources suggest Charles is painfully aware that history might remember him primarily for this family fracture rather than his 7-decade preparation for the throne. Let's examine the children in all of this, because they're the silent victims of adult conflicts. Prince Archie is now 6 years old, Princess Lilibet is 4, and according to sources close to the Sussexes who spoke with People magazine, both children have extremely limited relationships with their royal grandfather and virtually no relationship with their UK cousins. Royal commentators point out the tragedy of this situation. These children are growing up in California without connection to their heritage, their titles, or half of their family. Meanwhile, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis are being raised without knowing their California cousins. Charles reportedly finds this situation unbearable, telling friends that he wants his grandchildren to know each other before it's too late. But William and Kate have allegedly made clear that they won't expose their children to what they see as the chaos and publicity that follows Harry and Meghan everywhere. Here's a question that royal experts keep asking, but no one can answer definitively. Could King Charles actually remove Prince William from the line of succession if his heir continues to block reconciliation? Technically, according to constitutional law experts, the king cannot simply skip over his heir without parliamentary approval under the Succession to the Crown Act. But the very fact that this question is being asked reveals how seriously some observers believe Charles is considering radical options. Sources close to the palace who spoke with the Daily Mail dismissed these suggestions as absurd speculation, but the persistence of such rumors indicates real anxiety about just how far Charles might go to heal his fractured family. The Netflix factor adds yet another complex layer to this already impossible situation. According to reports from Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, Harry and Meghan's production deal with Netflix includes options for additional documentary content about royal life. Royal experts point out that any reconciliation meeting, any private family gathering, runs the risk of becoming content for future streaming programming. William and Kate reportedly view this as an unacceptable security risk, a situation where private family moments could be recorded, documented, or later revealed for commercial purposes. The Sussexes have denied any intention to exploit private family moments, but trust has been so thoroughly destroyed that such assurances carry little weight with William's circle. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the revelation that brings all these threads together into one shocking truth. According to highly placed sources who spoke with The Times just last week, King Charles has made a decision. He's moving forward with the Balmoral Reconciliation Summit in August 2026, with or without Prince William's blessing. The king has reportedly told his closest advisors that he cannot in good conscience leave this world with his family so fractured, that he must make every possible effort at peace regardless of institutional consequences. But here's the twist that changes everything. Sources claim Charles is not inviting Meghan Markle to this gathering. According to this plan, Harry would come alone with the children. removing what William sees as the primary obstacle to any reconciliation. The king apparently believes this compromise might allow William to participate, while giving Harry the family connection he desperately craves. Whether this strategy has any chance of success remains to be seen. William's team has reportedly not responded to this proposal, and Harry has allegedly told friends he won't attend any gathering that excludes his wife. The stage is set for the most dramatic royal confrontation in generations. So what does all of this mean for the future of the British monarchy? We're watching an institution that has survived for over 1,000 years face an existential crisis, not from external threats, but from internal family dysfunction playing out on a global stage. King Charles wanted his reign to be about environmental leadership, interfaith dialogue,